This is Get Real with Bob and Stacy, the show that helps you learn about the mortgage and real estate markets. Get the inside scoop from their expert list of guests and have some fun along the way. Now, here's Bob Gallagher and Stacy Alcorn.
Welcome back. You're listening to Get Real with Bob and Stacy, and you're joining us for our Leaders and Legends segment. Our first guest today is Mike Scher, co-founder and chief sales architect at Frontline Selling. Welcome to the show, Mike.
Thanks, Bob. Good to be back here.
Yeah, we're excited to have you back. Mike Scher, for anybody that listened to last time, he has a website. It's frontlineselling.com. Frontline Selling makes sales organizations wildly successful by providing them with the most effective ways to engage their B2B buyer. Staccato instantly creates a multi-touch prospecting platform and provides unprecedented optics into the metrics that predict sales pipelines. The software they own, which snaps seamlessly into Salesforce and is available on the App Exchange, organizes, prioritizes, and guides prospecting activity with a methodology based on the scientific analysis of nearly 2 million outreach repetitions. It can also be delivered as a managed service. Clients routinely generate 2 to 4 times more sales opportunities with key decision makers. So basically, you're in the business of helping salespeople reach out to the right prospects and turning them into business. First, tell us again about how exactly your program works.
Sure, Stacy, and yes, that's exactly right. It's about helping those salespeople get more opportunities. Every sale in any sort of B2B sale, it's going to take you 10 meetings, conference calls, proposals, demos, whatever it is to close the deal. You can't do the 10th until you do the 9th. You can't do any of them until you do the first. One of the biggest challenges that sales organizations have is they have a great product, great solution, tell a great story, but it's just they need somebody to tell that story to. It's getting to the decision maker. Mm-hmm. And so the way Staccato works is it is a methodology and a technology that guides, it's a guided prospecting solution that when you follow the process, the outcome is you get way more first meaningful conversations, meaningful interactions with the right people. Generally, like you said, 2 to 4x the number of first meaningful conversations.
That's kind of cool because it sounds like you can make any salesperson into a rock star. Right?
Yeah,
that's really what it does.
Matter. It doesn't really matter whether you're a 21-year veteran or a 21 years old, right? Salespeople. Salespeople when they're prospecting, particularly, most people go through sort of the guesswork. There's a lot of decision points, right? Who do I contact? What do I say? If I call Stacy and I get her voicemail, should I leave a message? What message should I leave? When should I follow up? How many times should I follow up? Each one of these decision points is also a potential point of failure. What Staccato does is it removes the guesswork and the trial and mostly error through that process and gives you two things: the right answer to those questions and the right way to do those things. So, for example, one of the right answers is, should I leave Stacy a voicemail? The answer is yes, but I can leave a good one or a bad one. Right? Knowing the difference between the two and actually building sort of the muscle memory to make sure that you leave a good construct of a voicemail each and every time. Staccato is all about not only what to do, but how best to do it.
This is so cool. Anytime I end up sitting with somebody trying to sell me something, I really try to analyze it and say, how the heck did this person get in front of me? Seriously, because I'm so busy. I don't have time for sales pitches. So they got to do something special in order to get in front of me to sell something. So your software would predict the things that this person would have to do in order to get in front of me. Tell us about the new platform you have called People Links and how that is fitting into the product suite that you offer.
Oh, well, we're excited about just a couple of weeks ago, we acquired a great company called People Links. The platform fits perfectly into what we're doing with Staccato. And the way if you think about Staccato as the guided prospecting solution that guides users through how do you get that first appointment, similar to getting that first appointment when you talk about the sort of the advent and all the interest in social selling. Salespeople, that's sort of been the wild, wild west. Salespeople guess their way through social selling activities. When should I connect with Bob on LinkedIn, or what should I follow him or tweet this content to Stacy or to the marketplace? When should I do it? How should I do it? So just like we've done with Staccato in terms of prospecting efforts, PeopleLinks is a best practice methodology of what to do, and then a technology platform to guide the salesperson through optimum social selling activities. So not only just in the the lead gen stage, but all throughout the sales process. So it's a complete guided selling platform that drives game-changing outcomes for sales organizations.
That's cool. So tell us about some of the traditional stuff. Both Bob and I have a lot of salespeople on our teams, and some of the traditional stuff that salespeople do when they get slow in our industry is cold call. So is cold calling dead?
Absolutely not, Stacy. Cold calling's not dead. There's this raging debate. If you go on, read blog posts, or go on LinkedIn and some of the discussion boards and things like that. If you really want to stir the pot, right, just post something, is cold calling dead, right? Or, social selling is the way to go. And, all selling is social. It's always been social. There's just different communication protocols. So it's not one or the other. Is it cold calling, or is it social selling? We say, why not all the above, whether it's digital selling through email or other electronic communications, through human-to-human voice communications, or through social platforms. All selling is social, and you need to communicate across the spectrum in a coordinated way, because different people respond differently. Not everybody picks up their phone, but not everybody ignores the phone. Not everybody engages socially, but not everybody ignores social. So it's all a little bit, and knowing how to mix it together, which is why the PeopleLinks, which was a business partner of ours prior to the acquisition, is such a strategic component to what we're doing, because right now this is the only solution that goes across the human-to-human, digital and social platforms for a complete outreach effort.
This is interesting. Just for the first time ever, I hired a cold caller to do my recruiting calls. And I've always, for 14 years, I've done my own style of recruiting where I leave messages for people, I email them, etc. The guy I hired is a master cold caller. He doesn't leave messages. He'll keep calling you until you pick up the phone. What's really interesting is I'm still doing my style of recruiting. He's still doing his style, and we're getting totally different people. Like, there's no overlap. And that goes to the point you just said, that everybody reacts different to a different type of contact that they're receiving.
That's exactly right. I mean, we're just, some people are audio learners, right? So voicemail is important to them, right? Other people are very email-centric. You interact with these people. They read emails and mark them as unread, as if they're trying to fool themselves, right? There are other people, even within an organization, as you're navigating, some people give their administrative assistants a lot of domain over their calendar and have a lot of trust, and it's a close relationship. Other people prefer to, do things like, book their travel and schedule their appointments themselves. Different people respond to different stimuli. That's why casting a wide net across multiple touch points and allowing the person to respond by analyzing and paying attention to how they respond, they give you the indication of how they prefer to communicate. Nobody says, "Hi, I'm Stacy. I'm an email person," right? And it's interesting, Stacy, you had mentioned, because you're very conscious about this, right, is when people get to you, you then think about, say, hey, how did they get to me?
Right.
And I would argue that, that you probably really don't know because you weren't paying attention to even more of the subliminal pieces. It could have been the fact that that person got to you because maybe they emailed Bob and Bob forwarded it to you 2 weeks ago, but you kind of glanced at it and you roll your eyes every time Bob forwards you stuff. So
that does happen.
But then when the guy called, it kind of sparked it, right?
Yes.
And so that's the thing. We're just not conscious. It's the same reason why we buy chewing gum at the grocery store checkout counter. Sometimes it's just sort of subliminal, impulsive as well.
Right. Huh. So interesting. So you've been an expert on sales conversion forever. So what have you done throughout, let's just say, the past decade or 2 decades, when most of the world, almost every sales funnel is somehow affected by the economy? You say it's possible to exceed quotas, increase sales, regardless of what's happening in an economic market. How is that possible?
Oh, it's absolutely possible. I mean, when there's an economic downturn, it doesn't mean all commerce stops. What it means is that the marginal performers can't succeed. The average performers don't succeed. And that's why it's really important to have exceptional performance, right? In terms of being focused and disciplined. And just as an example, without getting, if let's say whatever it is you sell into a $1 billion industry, right? The industry is $1 billion. And let's just say that during this period of time, there's a downturn. And the downturn means that this industry is no longer growing. It shrunk by 10%, which is a calamity, right? Well, guess what, Stacy? It's still a $900 million market.
Right.
Okay? So it's still a big market, but that just means you need to compete more effectively. And so focus and discipline is what's going to survive in difficult times.
Interesting. And potentially there's more business because you have a 10% downturn, but 30% of the marginal producers fall off, which increases the business for everybody else.
That's exactly right. That is exactly right.
So what are your top 3 tips for every salesperson, regardless of industry, to help them reach a prospect faster?
So the first and foremost is when you're reaching out, it's not about number one is it's not about the product, right? It's about the business solution you solve. So stay accountable to outcomes. Okay. The second one is being curious. Right? It's not about you. It's about them. It's being curious. When you're curious, you can't assume, and we all know what happens when you assume, right? And then the last tip is, I call it just one more. Research one more account. Connect with one more person. Make one more phone call. If you just do one more, when you think you're done, at the end of the day, if you just do one more each and every day, that one more makes all the difference in the world.
That's interesting. I have a question for you. We only have a couple more minutes, but as far as the people links piece of your business, which sounds like it is using social media, I can't get over the number of LinkedIn emails I get where people are actually trying to sell me something through an email. It's like a blind email to me saying, "Oh, I would love to get together and help you with your SEO." Yeah. I get probably 5 a day. I hope your software does not do that.
Yeah, because I stopped looking at the messages just for that same reason. It's it's basically junk mail.
There's
now.
Never a good email in LinkedIn anymore.
Nope.
Well, so it was described to me the other day, right? It would be, imagine you went, think about it in a personal environment. You went to a networking event, and you walked up to somebody, and you said, and you didn't even introduce yourself. You just said, "Hi, hi, I do SEO conversion."
Yes, right.
Right?
Yeah.
Or you know, in a networking event, right?
You're absolutely
so
right.
all social media is a digital version of that. So the idea of decorum and the idea of just communication doesn't go out the window because it's because you can do it 1,000 people at a time or whatever it is, right?
Right.
So the beauty of the People Links platform is it's not just a piece of technology, it's a methodology of best practice. So from how to not just connecting with people, but how to connect, from sharing, not just sharing content, but how to share that content in an effective way that deals with how humans like to consume this information. So you're not just automating bad behavior,
Right.
which is really
yes.
what. Yeah, I mean, and by the way, not just social media does it. Think about things like dialers,
Right.
Automated dialers.
Yes.
It's just a voice version of Stacey, of what you
Yes.
just described, right?
Yeah.
Now, it doesn't mean dialers are bad, but it's how people implement them.
Right.
They can automate bad behavior, and that's what you have to be careful about with technology. And there's a lot of tools and technology out there for all types of things, whether it's social or sales acceleration and things like that. And you have to be careful because a lot of times people think technology is really just a technology problem, a problem that technology can solve, right? But you can't feel like you're arming salespeople to the point where they believe they can do just about everything without doing anything. You have to know what tools and technologies and how to use them effectively. No different than communicating at a networking event, right? There's the right way to
Right.
and a proper way to engage somebody in a conversation.
Yes. That's awesome. Well, thank you. Our time is almost up. This is Mike Scher, co-founder and chief sales architect at Frontline Selling. You can learn more about him and his business at frontlineselling.com. He will teach you how not to automate bad behavior. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Stacey. It's been a pleasure.
We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be back with more Get Real after this.